Welcome to the Not So Intellectual Podcast, a podcast where we talk about everything from life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness alongside tales of debauchery and life lessons. On this episode, we're going to be talking about everything, of course, from probable life on other planets to the theory of everything to social issues that matter to you and me. But before we get into it, let's go down and talk about the news that matters to me. This is the rundown. So, awesome thing happens while I was not doing the podcast. It's legalization of marijuana. There has been a third state in the United States to legalize, and that is Alaska, going up against with Colorado and Washington State. It's only a matter of time when hopefully it does become legal throughout the whole country. It'd be way better for the country financially and just for social reasons, if that makes any sense. There's also a bill that they're trying to pass. It's not necessarily fully done. There's still some things that need to kink out, but the Senate Bill 30, if it passes, it would take marijuana out of the controlled substance ban list, and you'll be able to sell it, buy it in your own state, depending on how that state wants to rule on the marijuana issue. On the MMA Minute, Anderson Silva, Nick Diaz, Hector Lombard, and I believe a female fighter as well, have all been popped for banned substance. And in the case of Anderson Silva and Hector Lombard, I believe her name was Smith something, Leslie Smith, not Leslie Smith, that's a different fighter, but those three fighters have been popped for steroids. And right now, that's an unfortunate thing going on in the sport of MMA. I'm really hopeful that the UFC, since they've announced they're going to be doing more extensive, more, I guess it's an Olympic caliber of drug testing, they're going to be implementing that from now on, moving forward throughout this year. And so far, I think that's going to be a great thing for the sport. I really hope no one else gets popped for that bullshit. I really want to keep this sport clean. As a fan, it's a little disheartening to see the greatest of all time, our Babe Ruth, basically get popped for something that is like the worst, at least in my opinion, when it comes to athletic sports. Now, Nick Diaz has been popped for the third time with marijuana. He has a card. He has a medical card. He's prescribed by a doctor because of his ADHD. And I'm not quite sure what they're going to be doing. The athletic commission is going to meet with all those fighters and determine what's going to happen to them for the rest of the year. I'm not sure if maybe he'll get banned for about a year or two, which would suck comparing to what Anderson, Hector Lombard, and the other fighter had been. A controlled substance. It's unfortunate that marijuana is under the controlled substance list, but the rules are the rules, apparently. I mean, I understand that, but it just sucks that Nick Diaz needs to be lumped in with the steroid users, because it's a totally different thing. But we'll see how that goes. We're going to see how the Nevada Athletic Commission deals with this issue. But that's the MMA Minute. Let's go on to today's show. On today's show, I am very happy, very overjoyed to have this awesome guest with me today. She is a seamstress, a cosplay enthusiast, an all-around beautiful woman, amazing intellectual mind. That is Leesa Thompson. Hello, Leesa. How you doing?
Hello. Thank you for that introduction.
You're quite welcome. So, on today's show, I wanted to kind of really dive into your brain, kind of let the audience know what type of woman I'm into.
Okay.
As well as
Not
I think
crazy.
you're an interesting person. You have a lot of intriguing views in how you view life in general.
Okay.
So let's go down the list of questions that I have prepared for you.
All right.
So, question number one.
Mm-hmm.
As a woman, what are you tired or sick of seeing in the media or in your day-to-day life?
Um, I think that is in a general sense. I would say that obviously over sexualization of women is tiresome, and particularly as a woman of color, it is. There's a line down the middle where either you're completely repulsive or you're just a sexual object. And of course, all women have that problem and have experienced that. But I feel like it depends on what group of people you're surrounded around.
Mm-hmm.
And when if you come from a community where everyone is like you, you come like I came from a community that's predominantly black. It's slightly more supportive that way. Like anywhere, it's just like if you come from a country of people that are all the same belief system and race and background as you, and you come out of that into this other portion of the world where everybody's quite different, they don't understand you. It can be jarring, and especially when it comes to their impression of what you might be because of the media. And you can look at this for people of Latino and Hispanic descent. You can look at this with people of Asian descent. It's not as bad as it used to be, but it's still pretty bad. Like you have people who say like silly things like ching chong bing bong, stuff like that to when they talk about Asian people, and it's just like, really, like, are we in the 1940s still? It's silly.
I think you have a lot of good points, but I feel like we grew up in a society here in the United States and the Western world, I guess you can put it, that we grew up like being able to be kind of a little racist. I think, in my opinion, everyone's a little racist to a certain extent.
Yeah.
And slowly but surely, it's gonna get phased out. I see it nowadays. Like nowadays, you can't necessarily say faggot because you'll get
well,
thrashed.
you could say it, but
yeah, you could say it, but you'll still get it's not necessarily really accepted nowadays.
No, it's seen as like hate language
in high school. In high school, we were just throwing the faggot word like left and right.
Well, I'm not defending it in any way, but you can also have the use of faggot as a kind of a what is it, hyperbole?
Mm-hmm.
As a hyperbole, and it's not necessarily to call someone a bundle of sticks or to refer to them in their sexual as a way to demean their sexual preference, but it's used a little bit differently. It's like how people say nigga, and they like nigga, and they think, oh, this is a term of endearment, and it's like, actually no, it's still pretty, and it's not that great. But kind of looping back to, as a woman, you have things like, one thing in media is not as popular anymore, but I guess growing up around predominantly black and around hip hop and stuff like that, we had this progression from being girls to chicks, I think, and then it turned into bitches at some point. It was like bitch this, hoe that, and then I don't know whether it was like a lot of the guys I knew who had this type of speech, this behavior, as if I can kind of give a preempt to what I'm getting to, is they were young men who were in the military or guys who listened to hip hop. So I'm not sure if it was like both, but somewhere there was some cloud of craziness where it's just like women went from bitches to females. So I feel like that's a problem, but I just really think it's just the sexualization of the female form. Like, women are beautiful. They, boobs are sexy, breasts, booties, all of that stuff. It's very appealing whether you're into women or not. It's nice to look at. And it's hard to differentiate that. But I feel like a lot of media kind of keeps stirring up that animalistic tendency to see women as nothing but that. Like even with the celebrity reports, and it's not really about anything that the person did. It's just like, Claire Danes has on jeans today. What's up with that? Look at her butt. It's just like, really, we don't care. Or when they point out somebody's cellulite, and it's just like, who doesn't have it? As far as women anyway, like once you hit about 25, it starts popping up if it's not there already, and you can work out. Sometimes it goes away. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's just genetic. And I mean, it's like we all know that a lot of people, especially in the spotlight, don't take care of themselves the way they should because they're working hard to maintain some type of image. So you can expect that these people are going to have some kind of issue or something where their body isn't quite on point or on par, if you will. But I think another problem with, as far as media, something as a woman I'm tired of seeing is the love story is also like, I guess in movies, everything has to revolve around some sort of love story, and also the useless female character. Like, I'm gonna go there, like in Naruto, and you have Sakura, and she's not completely useless, but most of the series,
the Shippuden series, like she
starts to get her shit together. Really, she starts to get her shit together. But it's like a funny thing. There are a lot of memes, and they talk about how she's useless and everything, and it's funny. But it's funny because it's kind of true. Like she and it's just like she totally played Naruto, and he's just like, girl, I love you, and she's like, but Sasuke, it's just like, come on.
But it kind of reflects real life. I mean, I've experienced that in my life. In ways, like,
yes.
I was Naruto chasing after the wrong girl, and the girl would be chasing after Sasuke, who's like so cool, not giving a shit type of situation.
Yeah.
But it's just, I think it just happens in life, and it's unfortunate that that's how things go. It's not until when you get older that you realize, oh, maybe I shouldn't be going up around this type of person or going after this type of person because I'm worth more than that.
Exactly.
But going back to the whole objectification of women, something happened in, I guess it was in the 70s, where women started to stand up for their rights, and women started to like march against injustices and equal pay type of situation, which is kind of coming back today nowadays with I guess Patricia Arquette, when she won her award, she was calling out for equal pay and all that stuff. But then you see the opposite of that. You see women who are just getting offended over any little thing.
The neo-feminism.
The neo-feminism, or how I like to call them, the feminazis of the day.
I don't really agree with the feminazi term. I feel like feminazi is a good term for, they're like the Al-Qaeda of Islam, where they're not even really related. They're just over there, and they're using the facade of feminism to defend their extreme point of views. And I really feel like the same way you have men who generally hate women, and you have women who generally hate men and everything man. So anything that isn't to the glorification of women, anything that doesn't exalt the female, is demeaning her. And I really feel like it's I don't want to use the term sickness because that's too extreme and it's not even what I really mean, but it's definitely it's a problem. It's a really bad problem. And I feel like in our generation, especially with people who were born in the mid-'80s to early 90s, we have the sensitivity to things that I really feel like is unnecessary. And, even with, you have people who think of things as bullying. And those same people are people that we might consider feminazis. And it's just like, you're the bully. You're running around telling men how they need to chop their dicks off and bow down to the vagina and all of this stuff, and it's unnecessary. It's just like, live your life. Fight the fight that's necessary. Like, if you're not getting the right pay, it's probably not because you're a woman. It's probably because either your job is shitty, or you're working for a bad company, or you're just in the wrong field, or you're not skilled enough. I mean, that happens. That's a real thing. I mean, it's a real thing that women in general, even though we are becoming some of the most educated and higher earners, a lot of women still don't have very much education. Like, we kind of stop at a certain point, and then our education has this rounded off, it curves off at a certain point, so we're not progressing in those fields that bring in those dollars and that actually control anything. So where you have and it's not about the CEO type of thing, but it's about the scientists, the doctors, even in politics, like the women in politics, 50-50, they represent the actual women of America. And some of them are just like rich women who, they're not rich, but they're really well-to-do, and they don't have that that connection to what it's really like to be of the female gender in America from birth, growing up. Okay. We'll just say it like that, because there are people who are female now and they weren't before. But that's not what I'm focusing on. But it is. It's a there's this divide, and you have women like I used to have a problem considering myself a feminist, because I grew up in a time period when the people who branded themselves as feminists were the mullet-wearing, flannel shirt, butch lesbian types, and it really was. It was just like this whole thing, and then you also had the chicks that were like, I don't wear makeup, I don't need no man, I don't wear bras, types of women with mustaches and shit.
Not shaving their legs.
Yeah, hairy armpits and stuff. So you had these two negative images of what feminism is. And like, as I grew up, I realized, like, no, you're a feminist if you believe that women around the world should be able to walk the street at night and not be afraid of being raped. Yeah. You know, or just go outside without a male escort, or go out, or here in America, and go out for the night with your friends, divide off from them so you can go home and not be harassed. Yeah. Like, that's being a feminist. And it's not, oh, I believe that women should be able to walk the street without being harassed. I believe that everyone should. And I would kind of say, no, I'm not a feminist, I'm a humanist. Okay. Because I believe that humans should have equal rights, and I believe that all humans should be able to live their lives to their fullest without the threat of some type of problem. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I know that's a utopian mindset, and I'm totally fine with being called that and being considered that. That's how I think. But I really do. I don't condone any form of crime against someone because of their gender or preference or whatever you could find.
It's really unfortunate that in different places of the world, there is like a clear like, I guess, oppression of the females. Mm-hmm. Like I believe in mostly Muslim countries, they have that, where and you would think, since we have the internet now, it's more widely available to have a more broader sense of community, I guess you can call it. Do you think we'll ever get to a point where everyone will just get along, or not get along, but just have a common respect for one another? Or is that just a pipe dream?
I will say that it is it's not necessarily a pipe dream, but it's definitely, in this current phase, it is. Because you have things like the condemnation of Western ideals. Mm-hmm. And one of the Western ideals is that women should be free. Mm-hmm. She should be able to wear her hair. You know, just something as simple as a woman's hair. And it's not talking against the hijab. It's talking about the idea of a mandate on something as such. And or just whatever the target is to claim her. But you have to, in places like in the Middle East, where some women are actually faced with inequality and the oppression, if you will. And the thing is, it's not Islam. I know people who are Muslim. I know people who are Muslim who are Americans, and born Americans. And in college, I met a lot of young women who were Middle Eastern and in African descent who were Muslim. And some of them wore hijab, some of them didn't. It depended on how orthodox they were. But they were very open people. They were very happy to be here in America. And most of them didn't come from places like that, because you can't really leave if it's like that. But the exposure of what they understood about how those people in those specific situations live, it seems more of it's a method of control. Like, you can look at it like this. The same way you have an abusive relationship, like here in America, and you have a man who knows he's not that great. He doesn't have a good education. He doesn't have a lot of money. He doesn't have any type of real foundation. And he gets this woman, and she's all right. She could do better. And not even talking about him. It's just she could if she wanted to, she could be whatever. So part of what will happen with people like that, not everyone, some people are awesome, doesn't matter, but we're saying this in this specific situation where you have someone who knows that they're not good enough for her. And I'm not saying that the men there are like this, but you can just look at it this way. He knows he's not good enough to have her, so he's going to do everything in his power to make sure she never exceeds any type of achievement other than what he can. Okay. So if the highest he could get is just a regular minimum wage 40-hour-a-week job, he's going to make sure she only gets part-time. And it's, so it's something like that. It's just like it's interwoven in the culture that women are property. They're humans, but they're really not. And even if you look at something like the Bible, it does not show women to be humans. Yeah. So I'm not trying to railroad you at all, but I definitely feel like that the association with the mistreatment of women in relation to a specific religion is a really poor habit that I think Westerners have in general, especially here in America, and we have the media constantly pumping that idea in our heads. But we forget that even the Christian Bible has a lot of situations where women don't really have a choice in the matter. You are just whatever it is. You're even something property. Something down to the construct of virginity. Like, there is no real construct for male virginity. Right. But, the whole, her hymen thing. And some women don't even have one. Some women have one, and it completely closes off the opening of the vagina. So it's going to get broken when she puts a tampon in. Right. Is she not a virgin anymore? So it's not, like, the concept of virginity is completely out.
And it's really horrible that in some of the other countries, I hate to go back to the Muslim countries, but if on their wedding night they don't bleed, they most likely will get, like, killed.
Sometimes, yes. Yeah. And it's not just horrible. In Muslim countries. There are tribal nations that are like that. I can't remember if the association is Muslim or not, but like in some parts of Africa, and they have the female genital mutilation, and that's part of the thing. Like, it's seen that the natural form of the female anatomy is sinful of some type, and if the clitoris touches the baby, it will be cursed, and all of these crazy ideas, and they're all tribal. They're all tribal things that date back. You can't even really, like, find the origin because it's been interwoven into the culture. And it's the same thing with how you have something as crazy as, like, the idea of, like, ISIS. And you have these people. It's a tribal thing. They basically created their own set and their own
belief systems.
What is it? It's kind of like anarchy. Yeah. They're basically anarchists who don't admit they're anarchists. Okay. They're hiding behind the facade of Islam, but nothing they do is ever of Islam, because even, like, anyone you talk to who is practicing that religion will say that it's a religion of peace. It's about being at peace with yourself. It's about as peaceful as Buddhism. Maybe not quite the same. You can't really compare them. But at the same time, if you did compare them, it's the same thing with the ideals of Christianity, is to be of peace and to be happy with yourself and to be thankful and be giving and all of these things. But then you have people who are like, war, war, war. And it's just like it's human nature, unfortunately. But it's definitely it's a toxic nature. It's a toxic form of nature. It was interesting. I skimmed over it. I didn't read it like I was supposed to, but I saw a headline that was talking about, I think it was Stephen Hawking, and he was saying that humanity needs to drop their violent tendencies, but that's a different thing altogether, because it's just like, dude, did you forget that people are violent for a reason, and it's not just because we just feel like it. A lot of people are violent because they're outraged about something happening, whether it be some form of inequality. Usually it's just some form of inequality. Like, even with children, like, you have in your family, and if you give one kid a serving and a bowl that's a little different shaped, and it's the same serving, same amount, they freak out because they think it's different. They think it's more or less. Yeah. It's a similar thing, but I mean, imagine that you're getting paid the same amount as someone, but when they pay you in these increments that don't allow you to actually do anything with your money, as opposed to...
So getting into that, I recently was talking to, months ago, I was talking to my friend, and she was telling me about what she needs to spend every month on just in life in general. As a female, you have to get tampons or whatever you have, or you have to wear makeup or bras and different things. So that's the thing that I'm kind of starting to be more conscious about. Like, wow, women get paid less, and yet society expects them to look a certain way and hide certain things from the public.
Yeah. You're expected to maintain a certain image, and that goes back to the idea of what media is presenting. So media presents the idea that your breasts should be a certain height, and they shouldn't move around, and your face should be clear, and your hair should be long or straight, or whatever the thing is. And it is. I will admit, my bra size is something that you can't find at Target or Walmart.
Giggity.
But at the same time, you're I can't find my bra at Walmart. I can't buy my bra at Target. I can't even buy my bra at JCPenney or Macy's.
Right.
Like maybe I could find it at Nordstrom. But the thing is that if you have all of these women who even a normal bra, like, well, it's still a normal bra, but you see what I mean. It's right. Like even a general size, the normal size that you could buy at any of those stores, any of those department stores. Let's say you're just fairly larger and you're like in the D range. You're gonna pay on a good day, if you don't shop at those discount stores and you shop regular retail, you're going to pay about $38 to $40. Now, when you get up into my size range, when you get up into these triple Ds and like Fs and Gs and all of this stuff, you're jumping up a $20 increase. And granted, as a seamstress, I understand it is a complicated piece of equipment, if you will. Yeah. it's a thing, and no, I will never sew bras for a living. It's a headache I don't want. But so I respect the fact that this item I'm buying is here to hold this 10 pounds on my chest up. But at the same time, it's like if I'm working a wage and I'm only getting paid about $30,000 a year, and if I have to pay rent, a car note, medical insurance and all of these things on top of that,
food,
you're paying for food, your
underwear and everything else you have
and
to pay
then
for.
I'm turning around, and if in a perfect world, I would have at least maybe 14 bras, so I could do laundry 2 weeks and have something. But in reality, I mean, a lot of large-breasted women are wearing their bra 2 and 3 times before they wash it because it's so expensive. It's like $60 sometimes.
Goddamn.
I mean, I've seen sales, and I'm like, oh my goodness, it's $40. Hurry up and buy that, like on the internet. But it's even then you buy 3 of them, and then you're getting rid of the other ones because you've had them so long, and you're like hand washing your bras every night and all of this stuff so you can maintain appearance for your professional life, or not even professional life, just to go to the grocery store, because you can't have these things bumping around all over the place in a grocery store because everybody's just looking at it, and it's embarrassing, and I mean, I really feel like our culture would be so much better if we were just more accepting of what real breasts are. And it's just like, sometimes they just hang there. Granted, you could wear an outfit that doesn't make them look, all nasty, floppy, but, but at the same time, it's like the idea that the human female should look a certain way and should wear certain clothes and all of these things, and just the idea of the clothing does not allow for the normal, natural female form to be as it is, unless she is of a certain size and a certain body shape in the first place. But when you get into these different body types, especially with a lot of ethnic women, particularly Latino and African descent. You got curves in places that Asian and most European women don't have as much. And those clothes don't allow for that. Like, even just your thigh size, you know, like, jeans are horrible. You know, it's just... So when you really look at a lot of these things, and you have this economic inequality and these expectations of women maintaining certain things, like what was it, Walmart got in trouble a few years ago for not paying women equal wages. And I think I made a comment, we were talking about Walmart, and I was saying that you go to Walmart and you're buying your food, and the person ringing up your food can't even buy their own with the money that they made at that store working. They have to get government subsidies, and it's still an issue, and nobody's doing anything about it. And you're having minimum wage increases all over the country, but come on, Walmart, get your shit together. Like,
so what do you think the modern day woman can do in her life to make a difference, to start making that difference happen in society?
The modern day woman in society could, because women shop the most, your buying power says a lot. So we can start shopping at places that actually have that interest in mind. And I'm sorry, don't shop at Walmart. If you see that women at Walmart don't get paid enough, even if they corrected it, the audacity that they even allowed that to happen, and that it is an issue, it's a real issue. Don't shop at stores like that. They don't have, and I mean, and we live in a country where single parent households are very high, and most of those single parent households are led by women. So you have places like that where even if the women are getting paid fairly, they're still not getting paid enough to take care of themselves and at least one other child. One child would be acceptable to make sure that she's covered on that. And the sad thing is, it's like the amount of waste that stores like that produce, they can afford it. They just don't want to, because it's not in their best interest for the end profit. And I mean, as you know, working in fashion and all of that stuff, you learn about those things and you see it. But I don't think it's necessary. I see why, but I also see why you don't have to. And, you know, so aside from that, another thing that women can do is really, I mean, it sucks, but we got to pay attention to politics. We got to look at who's going where. Use the internet, not for other things besides, you know, looking up makeup and bullshit like that. Like,
become more informed.
Let's get away from constantly feeding the demon of, like, you know, the vanity and all of that stuff, and let's start being more informed. Let's start being more active. Talk to your sisters, talk to your friends, and things like that, and really, like, make a movement, and not this whole, like, feminism, vaginas type of thing, but you know, it's more of a feminism will be more accepted from the people who are still not accepting it if we normalize it. And we're not talking about the BuzzFeed normalization, because even that stuff sometimes it's a little preachy. What is it, Upworthy too? They have things, and it's a lot of feminism things and a lot of gender equality.
They get their message across.
They get their message in.
But yeah, I understand how it can be a bit
but
too
it's
much.
A little much. So it's like daily life. And the thing is, it's like, stop using the label to prove your point, and actually prove your point through your actions. So it's just like, you can talk about how good the pudding is, but like they say, the proof is in the pudding. As in, when you put it in your mouth, it's delicious. So if your actions say that feminism is worthwhile, then feminism will be worthwhile, and then it won't be such a scary thing. But when you have women walking around basically shouting the praises of Lord Vulva over and burn down Tower of Penises, you know, it makes no sense. It's scary. You know, it's
in a recent episode of Parks and Recreation, there was a kind of that type of setting where Amy Poehler's husband in the show was running for, I believe, Congress, and it basically shows what most likely, I hope it doesn't go down that route, but it's just like any little thing you try to do, if you're in that position of power, you're just going to get a certain group to protest you. Let's say, like with this guy in the episode, he went in and competed in a pie contest, and he was being protested by the men against females oppressing males or something like that.
Okay.
And it was just funny because, yeah, that can actually happen.
But it's also a commentary on social behaviors and stuff, because a lot of their episodes recently have been making fun of certain concepts, like the Verizon Chipotle Exxon thing.
That was hilarious. Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah.
What's inside? You know, like those eat
Stop
it.
being a pansy.
Oh, that was the burger.
Yeah.
That was the burger. But yeah, I think that's the case. I mean, you're taught that growing up, that no matter what you do, no matter where you go, there's always going to be somebody who hates it.
Right.
You know, Mother Teresa had haters. You know, there are people trying to say that everything she did is a sham. Right. There are people trying to say that, I don't know if it's true or not, but there are people saying that she basically was she's like the kingpin, and everybody's doing the good deeds for him. Right. But they're just saying like, yeah, Lord Teresa, Sister Teresa, she's awesome, and they're like, yeah, no, she's not. She's just sitting back, you know, filing her nails where people. She never touched a leper. That was just a photo op. You know, that type of silly stuff.
To think that Mother Teresa's in the background, like a Dawn, just out there petting her cat. Do you really want to do that? I do not believe you want to do that. But, moving on. Religion in this country, or at least around the world, I think we've gotten to a point in society, or at least in a technological age that we live in, people who choose to believe in any type of bedtime story. I like to call them bedtime stories because that's what they are. They're just stories that have been passed down through generations and then written in books, and then that's when people started to take it to heart. And it's I just believe we've gotten to a certain point in our human. I mean, we don't need religion to dictate if we're a good person. You're a good person because you do good things, and you're not an asshole just because you're going to be an asshole.
Yeah, you're a good person because people can see that.
And I hate when people say that, oh, religion builds morality in a child. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. It's morality's built into our genes. At least that's how I've seen it.
I don't think it's built into our genes, but I feel like it's one of those things. It's a survival method. Right. So you can go around stomping on anthills and kicking beehives, but eventually you're gonna get stung. Right. And it's gonna suck because they're gonna attack around, shoving people and everything. Like everybody knew that kid that he or she would
fuck shit
threaten anybody or punch or push anybody they could do. Right. They could. But eventually, that one kid showed up. It was just like, enough is enough. Or they got beat up by multiple kids. Right. You know, so that happens. And it really is. It's a survival method. And it's a sensible survival method. Because you have people like in history like Genghis Khan, and he went around, he had his band of people, and they all just like raped and pillaged. And eventually you got his comeuppance, you know, like I can't remember if he died or how he died, but point is there are people like that who can be successful, but generally speaking, you're not gonna be. So to assume that you need fables and basically a scare tactic into behaving, it's not really true. I really feel like some people, the same way people need here we go. You're trying to lose weight, but you can't really work on yourself like you need to if you don't accept that you are the size you are, so you can begin to move forward. Because if you have the dysmorphia, you're going to always associate yourself as this large person, whether you lost weight or not. So think of it this way: if you grow up in a world that tells you you're bad because you were born, then you need you need religion because you need the idea that there's some guy out there, or there's somebody
it's gonna be worth it at the end,
who loves you no matter what.
right?
So I feel like the reason why we need religion is because we basically mentally abuse ourselves into believing terrible things about ourselves. Like what is it? Like the heaven and hell thing?
Yeah.
I believe that it wasn't originally a part of the idea. It was just like salvation and all those things, but it was really just like, hey, do what God tells you because it's the right thing. Why was it the right thing? Because it was the right thing for society at that time. That's what people were doing. That's what people wanted you to do. Got this book so people would look at it that way. And it is. It's like you have these stories and generations passed on and everything to develop culture and to keep people in line, really. But there's always been warmongers. There's always been people on the outside. And I really feel like anyone who didn't follow it has become demonized because it's convenient. Because it's it's really just a means of control. That's how I see it.
Right.
And it sounds like I see it as like this evil haunting thing, but I don't. I see it as it's just a means of control, as in behavioral modification. It's like how we have laws now, except our laws, well, some of our laws make sense and are very useful, and they apply to society regardless of how society changes, except for things like how we're legalizing marijuana and we're allowing people to make their own decisions about their own choice.
Or same-sex marriages. Going into that type of thing, or that, it's really sickening to me that, at least here in the United States, it's hard to explain. We're being not hijacked, but kind of, we're being held back. So like evolution, our own society's evolution is being held back by certain religious groups in the United States, like the Mormons and the super Christians and all them people who believe that a man and a woman cannot get married.
Yeah.
Or stuff like that. It's sickening to me.
I do believe that we're being held back, and not just through gay marriage or even women's rights, but I feel like even in science and technology, like in a lot of ways, we're being held back. I mean, just something as simple as, it's not very simple at all, actually, but the the Christian groups came up in arms about the usage of stem cell research was cut off because of
You're playing God,
and it's just like, you know what, if God wants to be God, he can come and stand in. But right now we got diseases, we got problems, we got famines, all kinds of things. So until this God that you keep talking about that we're offending comes and does the thing that we need to get done, we're going to do it ourselves. And I mean, in reality, it's just like, I grew up Christian, and I came to the realization that, you know what, this God thing, for me, it's not real. It's not what I think of. Like the thing and the person and the idea that I was taught to believe in it's not performing in the way that everyone says it's supposed to. But what I do feel like is, if you want to believe in God in the way that God made you, with a brain, with a mind, with capabilities, and he or she or whatever the gender deity of the thing you believe is, gave you the capability to understand the stuff and allowed people before you to record the things that they did and share them. So it's just like, for every Christian that thinks we're forsaking their God, or any religious person really who believes that we're forsaking some teaching or some type of deity or something because we're taking it upon ourselves to cure diseases in a fetus, or using fetal materials from somebody who was like, yeah, I don't want a baby, and instead of having the baby be born, they aborted it, and then they used those human tissues to help living humans. It's just like, you're forsaking that God for not allowing that to happen.
Right.
Because for every... It sounds really morbid and really creepy, but I don't care. It's like, for every dead fetus, there's going to be like 10 lives saved. Yeah. Because they're going to use that material for something better. And I'm sorry, when you look at least in this country, when you look at the foster care system and the adoption system and all of those things, horrendous. It's fucked. Yeah. So it's just like, okay, would you rather marry, have her baby, go down into poverty, possibly have her child taken away from her because she can't take care of it, and then put into foster care where we've had stories of people abusing children? Like there was a story about a woman
sexually.
They didn't suffer sexual abuse in this story. It was a woman who she took in 3 children and she starved them and she kept them in an attic. They survived eating stuffing out of the walls. And shit. 2 of them survived and 1 of them starved to death. And it was basically, they found like they were all skeletal. So it's just like, I would much rather that child not even get to that point and live 5 to 7 years of horror and just not be alive. And it's just like, yeah, it sucks to think of it that way, but it's an executive decision. It is the lesser of 2 evils. Yeah, it's the lesser of 2 evils. And it's an executive decision that somebody made about their body and the fate of something that they made. So it's just like, it's like this. You bake the cake, it didn't come out right. Do you throw it in the trash or do you try to figure out how to use it? Depends on its state. Depends on how good or bad it is. Sometimes you don't even bother to bake a cake because you mistook salt for sugar or sugar for salt, and you just like, fuck it, throw it away. You know, so it's a similar thing. Now granted, with a lot of women who have abortions, it's not, oh no, the wrong genes are here. It's more of, oh no, I'm not ready. But that's a part of taking care of a child, is being ready for it emotionally. If you know you're not ready emotionally and it happened, you can't get the shoulda, woulda, coulda thing is over. You know, so it's really about prevention. But in the cases when prevention didn't work, and you have someone who isn't ready or doesn't want it, and they're at a point where they can have an abortion, let them use it, right? Share it, and then encourage that person to have the lessons. I have asshole neighbors,
so I'm just gonna go ahead and close that. But continue.
But you have people. You help those people. Like if we didn't have a society that allowed for the condemnation of abortions, we wouldn't have people who feel so bad about it. Like, you wouldn't. You would still be okay with having an abortion. It wouldn't be such a bad thing because you know that your mistake would be used to make improvements for someone else's life. So that's how I see it about abortion. But as far as you know, the religious influence in it, it's touchy because you want to respect the fact that this is a part of some people's culture, and I really think that's what it boils down to is culture. And
they feel like you're disrespecting their culture somehow because you, I don't know, make a cartoon of Allah. Yeah. Like what happened in France with the
Charlie Hebdo thing, and yeah, it's just like, really
like it like, makes no fucking
I'm like,
sense.
Why is this offensive? And I know somebody will probably write in and say, oh, it's offensive because. I'm like, please explain to me really why it's offensive that somebody would develop the concept of what this prophet might actually look like, and then possibly make fun of it. Like, is it really gonna change the structure of the values that you have for yourself? It's like when somebody makes fun of my friends make fun of my butt, because it's a thing, we do it. It's just to be silly. We make fun of each other, and if there's a butt joke, is the butt joke gonna change really what my butt is, or is it just gonna make me laugh? Or, you know, and it's just like, and if I develop some type of insecurity about it, it's not their fault. It's my fault. It's me. And that's something else. It's the ownership of your feelings and your reactions to things. And One other thing I wanted to mention was as far as with the religious thing, and I actually saw a video on YouTube and someone was explaining why people get so emotional about their religion. I'll focus particularly on Christians because I grew up Christian and I know.
Yeah, the whole mindset.
I'm very familiar with that feeling. And when you say you don't believe in God or you don't want to talk about God or whatever it is, they get very emotional, and it's because what the person in the video was saying is that basically God is them. Like, all of the because they've basically imprinted themselves on this image, and if you don't accept this image that they're trying to share with you, they see it as, oh, you've offended me. You don't want me around because this is me. So people aren't developing an identity outside of it. Now, I know plenty of people who are Christian. They're great people. They're wonderful. They just happen to be Christian, and it means nothing to me because they are not insufferable. They are quite sufferable. They're quite pleasant, actually. If they were candy, I'd eat them all the time.
Right.
But
I bet we've all met those type of Christians in our day-to-day lives who like are just extremely two-faced.
Yes.
Who don't necessarily practice what they preach.
No.
And I find that to be more what a Christian is. When I think of a Christian, that's what I think a Christian is. Or when I think of a religious person is, that's what I think a religious person is. It's unfortunate.
Well,
but not everyone is like that. Yes, I agree.
I have I consider them kind of family. Basically, I consider them family because I spent so much time with them and because of the closeness, even though we're not as close anymore. But a friend's mother said that these people are Christian. These people are religious. And she made a distinction whenever she said something about religious folks, those were people who they're like fair weather Christians. They come to church, they pretend, they sing the songs and everything, but when they leave, they got back that ass up bumping in the car, driving home, or they, talking smack about the lady in the church, or talk shit about her hat. And I mean, I make fun of people all the time. Yeah. So I mean, but it's more of the gossip. It's the invasion of privacy with the gossip because they're asking questions and they're getting information and all of this stuff about each other and they're spreading rumors and or they just have horrible relationships with their family, like they're shitty parents. Some of them are shitty parents, but they're like, oh, praise Jesus, I'm so happy with the Lord, bless me with this, that, and the third. But then they turn around and they treat their kids like crap. Yeah. And I mean, there are a lot of people like that, but there's also the whole you could also argue that part of the violence, family violence, as far as beating your wife and beating your kids, can be chalked up to some religions too, because their doctrines that clearly say like
you can fucking stone your kids or stone your wife or even
stone your kids, beat your kids, spare the rod, spoil the child, all of that crazy stuff. It's all there. It's all in those books, and it's really a I don't feel like physical discipline is wrong in the right cases, but I feel like the amount of physical discipline you implement and the way you do it it changes what it really is. So if you're running around beating your kids like a mad person, you're an abuser. If you're hitting your kids in the face, you're an abuser. If you spank your kid's hand because they picked up something and hurled it at you, you're teaching them a lesson. Now, granted, you could talk to him, but he's 2. Is he really gonna take in what you have to say? Like, he's 2, he doesn't give a shit. Kids don't give a fuck. So they do, but you got to teach them how to give a fuck. And sometimes the fucks come when you smack them on the hand or the leg after they've done something like kick you in the leg. And it's just like I challenge people who say they would never beat their kids to see how you feel when the love of your life, that little person, comes and kicks you in your shin or punches you in the stomach. Because one of my friend's daughter punched her in the stomach. Just, I don't know why. She told me, she was just like, she punched me in the stomach. I'm like, what did you do? She was just like, I had to walk away. I wanted to kill her. But, and it's just like, it's one of those things. You walk away and then you come back and you're like, don't you ever do that again. And some people see things like shouting as abuse. And I do. I think that goes back to the whole thing of like sensitivity. Well, I feel like people are oversensitive. Because you have stories about people who grew up in the 70s and they're like, and my mom and dad whipped me in the face. What about? And they say it like it's nothing. And I think they're exaggerating. Maybe not. I mean, you got like stuff like Joe Jackson and just like standing behind the curtain like, I'm gonna kill you. You dance right. That type of stuff. It's real. But at the same time, I feel like the same way media exaggerates things like love stories and sex. I mean, even with the 50 Shades of Grey, the bullshit, and it makes it's just like for people who are into actual S&M and submissive play and all of those things.
Definitely watch The
Secretary. That book is bullshit. That book is bullshit. The story is bullshit. It's the story about somebody who's controlling, who's fucking out of his mind. And the girl is an idiot for even going along with it. And I'm not saying she deserved it, but, you know, if someone says the house is on fire, and you walk in anyway, you know. So,
you still haven't seen The Secretary, right?
No, I don't need to. Okay. But I was explained, the story was explained, and I'm like, nah, I'm good. I mean, I've watched some twisted shit, but sometimes I just don't need it. I don't need the, I don't need to see the story. I got enough up here. Okay. You know, so, but, yeah, so it's just like the sensitivity of like, oh no, don't do this, don't do that. And, you know, the whole thing of like, oh, don't yell at your kids and all of this stuff. It goes back to the whole thing of like, oh no, don't say those words. They hurt someone's feelings. So I feel like some of the sensitivity as far as using, like we're going back to sensitivity of using words like faggot and nigga and bitch and all that stuff. It's not necessarily the person is offended, but they know it's offensive. So it's a whole virus of like trying to be politically correct in the wrong time. It's just like we're casual right now. Just like let them say it, see how you feel about it.
The new thing is, at least I've been kind of seeing it online, like people, or at least women, not liking the word bossy.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen that?
Yeah, that was like a thing like last year, right?
Yeah.
It was more of a thing last year, and it was like stop calling women bossy, and I'm like. And I think it was a bunch of celebrities. And I was really pissed off because Beyonce, what the fuck, man? You get on there with your don't call women bossy shit, but you can't talk about Ferguson, but, you know, that's not my business, you know what I mean? Like, whatever. But anyway, but the point is, it's just like, it is a term that's usually used towards women. But if someone calls you bossy, get bossy. Show them what bossy is. It's like if somebody calls you crazy, you're like, bitch, I ain't crazy. I'm gonna show you what crazy is. And I'm not saying you should do that. That doesn't really solve problems. But at the same time, it's like if you're offended by someone calling you bossy, it might be because you really are and you know it. But if somebody's calling you bossy because you spoke up for yourself, or I think it started because some woman spoke up for herself in media, and then somebody wrote in and was just like, what a bossy bitch, or some random shit like that. And everybody's like, I can't believe this. They call her bossy, blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, why are you even concerned about this word? Yeah. Like, what is it? Really, what is it? Like, why are we wasting time telling people not to use certain words? If the word wasn't meant to be used, we wouldn't have it in the language. Point blank.
So what about when someone says like retard?
Retard. All right,
that's a little harder, isn't it?
I get it. But at the same time, I grew up in a place that you referred to
stupid behavior.
You referred. You didn't call people who were mentally disabled or who had a developmental disability. That you called them either special or retarded. But usually, if someone calls someone, that boy over there is retarded, it's because he's stupid.
Yeah, he's trying to.
Or he's acting stupid. Like that. Yeah. Like, something wrong with that boy. He probably retarded, and it's a way to demean someone, but you're not. So it's used as more of a term to demean someone, but it's not referring to someone who's incapable. It's saying that someone's completely normal is incapable because they don't even try. It's fucking stupid. But I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's nice. But you know what? Life isn't fair or nice. No. And really, it's just like, let's attack the real issues in the world and the real things that are keeping people from being the best they can be and having the best lives they can have, and let's stop focusing on words. Because you have something like, what is it, Fanny?
Yeah.
Fanny. And my whole life, I had no idea that a fanny pack was named fanny pack is because it sits on front of your, basically your puss. Yeah. That's what it is. Fanny is pussy. And it's just like, really? Ugh. You know, like, yeah. And I thought fanny was your behind, because here we call fanny your butt.
Yeah.
So you have something like that, and it's just like, oh, don't say that word. Don't say that word. And it's just like, I grew up around a really religious grandma who she didn't like it when I said words like fart.
Wow.
She didn't like the word fart. And what's another one I used to say? Boogers. I think she was just weird. She was a weird lady, but she was sweet and everything. She did well. Like, you know, my family did well raising me. I think I'm great. But at the same time, thanks. But at the same time, it's just like, really, Fanny is an offensive word. So it's silly stuff like that, and you're just like, we're not 7. And the idea of words hurt. Words hurt when they're directed at you, and when you know somebody meant it that way. So when someone calls you ugly to your face, you should be offended. Right. If someone, but even then, you can sit down. People should be taught. As adults, we kind of learn to do that. Some of us do. Some of us take a longer time. It depends on your emotional maturity and what you've been through in your life and how much time you actually dedicate to reflection. And I really feel like that's something that people don't focus on. And with how high, statistically, how many people are religious, you would think reflection would be on like we would be the most reflective society in the world. But we aren't. We're the least. Everything we take at surface value. We take serious stuff as surface value, and we take stupid shit as deep down in our hearts. Yeah. And we don't take any time to reflect on it. So something like somebody calling you ugly, you could really sit down and go, you know what? He thinks I'm ugly because he has a problem with himself. So if you're really overweight, and I mean like really overweight, like you're like 5'5" and like got 300 pounds. And somebody's like, you're fat, you're disgusting, right? You can say, yeah, I am fat. This is kind of gross. If that's how you feel inside, then that's how you feel. But if you never felt that way before someone said it, if you were comfortable in your skin and you knew you could take better care of yourself, but you're happy, you're having a good life, you got good friends, and everybody likes you, and you got somebody who loves you, and somebody tells you you're fat and disgusting, when you got all these people who love you the way they do, and all these people who look at you, and they don't care, they care, but it's not an issue for them. Right. The reflection should come to say, that guy has some problems. That guy thinks I'm fat and disgusting because he has issues with this thing. And whether he was ever fat or anything isn't really important. It's important to look at it as
what it is.
Those people have a problem. So when you have someone who calls a woman bossy, they are probably just upset because a woman said something that stirred them up. They didn't like it. And I mean, whose fault is that? Hers? No, it's their fault.
Yeah, because they let themselves get hurt.
People don't like the truth. And when you tell the truth, people hate that shit. They can't stand it. So, well, not everyone, but there are people.
Certain people.
Yeah, a very large number of people, unfortunately.
So, moving on with another topic, technology. The progression of technology today. Do you believe it's even possible? I mean, sure, maybe one day we'll be able to travel amongst the stars and impregnate the human race into different planets out there. But seeing how it's kind of like what Neil deGrasse Tyson says, when it comes to space, every technological leap came from us not wanting to get killed or being destroyed by another superpower, or if it meant money. So do you think with Tesla, with amazing companies like Tesla that's actually making their own rockets to kind of test out how to get to Mars and colonize Mars, or when the same company is trying to bring free Wi-Fi to the world, do you think with that type of, I guess, industry, would it be considered an industry, or with that type of leadership, I guess I can call it that, do you think with that type of mentality that is kind of emerging in our world, do you think we'll ever get to go up there?
Like common people?
Just common people. I mean, sure, like common people.
All right, so just the idea of like the qualifications to become an astronaut. You can't be an idiot. And I mean, like, really, it's just like sometimes I'm an idiot about stuff. So you have your average people, but sending average people out into space to go wherever they're going. I mean, it's possible, but realistically, I feel like space exploration is necessary within a sense, but we need to understand it a little better. Like, we understand a lot about it, but I feel like science missions are fine. Mm-hmm. But in the next maybe 2 lifetimes, there's going to be a problem where if we're sending common people into space, we're going to have a problem if we start doing that within the next 100 years, because we need to take time to actually, like, explore space the way we need to. So I'm like, yeah, Tesla, send those rockets, do the thing. I'm cool with that, but let's leave people on the planet, because here's something that I've thought about, which is, okay, we colonize Mars, for instance, because that's a common science fiction thing, and people talk about it a lot. So if we try to colonize Mars, we're just gonna shit on that like we did planet Earth. Like, we can't figure out how to
clean up our own seas.
We can't clean up. We don't give. I mean, in a lot of ways, we don't give a shit about it. So if we don't give a shit about those types of things, why do we deserve to go anywhere else? I mean, it's like how you have the parent and the child. So it's like, you're not gonna clean up your room. Why would I give you more toys?
Right.
So I don't like it. It's a fantasy. It's a great fantasy. It's really fun to think about. I love Star Trek. I would love it. It's just like, if I could wake up tomorrow and have the qualifications and be on the Enterprise, that'd boy. But at the same time, a lot of people died on Enterprise. A lot of
red shirts, yeah.
A lot of red shirts. And I'm not talking about the first one. I'm talking about Picard's generation. Like, that engineering room blew up a lot.
Yeah.
So, so you have things like that, and it's just like, that danger is there. But daily life on planet Earth is pretty not as perilous as it used to be, but it's still a lot of daily hazards, like simple stuff like crossing the street, cooking your food, the gas stove. I mean, just like, it could blow up, it could happen, so
right now what we're seeing, at least what I've been seeing with all the missions to, like, Titan or to Europa, they're gonna be drones. Yeah, that's our future of space exploration right now, is drones, robotics. Do you think, I mean, with the advancement of technology, how it's going, how they're trying to get spider silk to be like in our DNA, so we can be able to have that layer of spider silk, like protective
well, now they
layer.
did the spider silk goat's milk thing, so you can milk goats and make.
Oh, did you get to see that one thing? I thought I showed you. It was a bulletproof skin.
I don't think you showed me, but I've seen it before, and it's I don't know if they're trying to get humans to have it automatically, but it's like a suit they're trying to make out of it, and it's easier to produce it that way in the milk than it would be to have millions of spiders. Because spiders are dangerous, and they're kind of scary. So, it's a lot easier to have a wonderful, happy goat to milk them and do that than to have spiders all over the place trying to get spider silk. And I mean, was it that warehouse they found? It was like a water treatment facility that looked like curtains, and it was just like layers and layers of spiders. They could do it like that, but that's ridiculous. Yeah. You can't sew it.
It's more feasible and more
so it makes sense, but I feel like in like, I like the route that technology is going. I'm happy with the technological advances. I just don't think that humans have evolved.
The common human, I suppose.
In general, humans have not evolved to be able to handle it. Things like Facebook and stuff like that distract us from what we need to do. Now, granted, our society has us doing things that we weren't really evolved to do in the first place. So we're bored.
Right.
Not stimulated enough, and not stimulated in the right ways.
But through our boredom is what we are able to create all this stuff that we see before us nowadays.
It depends. There are a lot of the boredom. art and things like that, you can say that it was created through boredom, but it was boredom of doing actually doing nothing. We are in a world now where we're expected to perform tasks that are quite remedial, and even though your average person isn't a rocket scientist, we have the capability for that. So our brains are able to absorb the information, and we can learn those things, and we can apply ourselves in places that are far greater than a lot of the expectations that we have for ourselves. So filing papers, typing stuff, ringing up food, things like that. I mean, a lot of this stuff's computerized now. Like, we have speech to text and all these types of things to make life easier. And people are afraid, like, oh my God, I'm going to lose my job because that's all I know how to do. But it's just like, we need to facilitate the availability of education for people. We need to facilitate the ways for people to be able to change routes, because we have this evolving technology that's allowing people to have things that are like, oh, you can just say the words on the page and they all show up. I think there's a thing now where you can just scan a page and it will convert the text to a Word document, and then you can edit it. I know it can change into a PDF, but that's always been a thing. But you can't expect that you do this thing and then everything will just be better, because you have to actually learn it and apply it properly. So right now we're in the let's play with it phase. Like, we got our new toys and we're having fun, but eventually we're going to have to really figure out how it applies to anything, and not just the people who it was designed for, like the scientists and doctors and all of that stuff, but even regular people daily. And usually it comes through suggestions, through commercials and stuff like that. So I really think, because commercialism bugs me. I hate commercials. They're the worst, because they're not really that informative. They're more of just like, come get this thing, come get this thing, come get this thing.
And eat this burger. Don't ask
eat
questions.
This burger. Eat that burger.
Yeah, don't
buy
be
this
a pussy.
product. Use it. Use it like this. And the thing is that the products are not useful.
Right.
They're just things. It's like, this ink pen. It writes things.
Ball pen.
That's all it is.
Point pen.
You know, but at least a pen can go with paper. You can put down your thoughts.
Right.
But you have silly things like purses and stuff like that, and it just doesn't matter. It's stupid. You know, it's just there. It's just there to hold things. And why is it so expensive? Some of the things that you have in there, you don't even use. Yeah. So it's just stuff to carry stuff in. So but with the products and the abilities we have now, we're seeing that people can actually make their lives better. And then as far as space exploration, I think that it's like, let us common people take care of business at home. Let the scientists and the astrophysicists and all of that stuff theorize and explore space and all of those things, and learn about it. Stay aware. Do the things that read the things that they publish, and support it. But dreaming of going to space is just a dream when you walk outside and the ground you walk on is so polluted that you could never eat anything that grew out of it,
or drink any of the
water that even fell from the sky, because it's loaded with toxins from, was it acid rain was a problem, I think, in the 70s?
Yeah, because they were near, I guess...
when you were near, like, certain plants and stuff like that.
No, not plants. Oh, yeah, plants as in...
Power plants
and
water treatment facilities.
And shit like that.
Yeah, so stuff like that. Like, we haven't figured out how to make... we figured it out. We have ideas, but we haven't figured it out as in implement it and never fuck up. Like, we still haven't figured out how to not fuck it up. And we have people who are working hard to try to take us other places. And I mean, even when you have these conspiracy theory things and they're like, they're polluting the planet and they're going to leave us behind to starve to death on the planet. It's just like, do you really think that even if it was like that and there was some elite group of evil people creating problems on the planet, so it's going to be shitty when they leave. We don't need them. The workforce is you. You're the workforce. You're the same people who they paid to dig up the oil that polluted the topsoil.
Right.
So that same workforce can be applied to make it better. But, you know, it's, people want to get paid. People want to get paid for stuff. And I mean, I want to get paid. I mean, there are projects that people want me to work on, and I'm like, and I'm sitting there going, that's interesting, but not as interesting as I'd like it to be. I would be more interested if somebody would pay me some money. And I mean, I could apply myself, and it might be a wonderful project, and it actually be lucrative later. But it's a matter of applying yourself for it down the road. Now, granted, a random project like an animation project or some costume thing or something like that might not be a benefit for the world, but when it comes to something that's a benefit for everyone, it's just like, why not? Let's all kind of like pitch in where we can. It's just like, and I really feel like it's a pathetic attempt with the whole let's get rid of plastic bags. I'm glad we're getting rid of plastic bags, because I remember being a kid and seeing plastic bags attached to trees without leaves.
Hell,
stuff like that.
There's that like miles and miles of debris and trash in the middle of the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah, we have a heap of garbage that is an island, and I have no idea of any suggestions to clean that up. But
the thing is,
let's burn it.
Some places they do that, but it's crazy how Sweden is able to take all their trash and convert it into energy, to the point where they're trying to buy trash from neighboring countries because they're running out of trash.
Because they need, because that's the system they've developed, and stuff like that. It's like, you would think the whole world would be like, oh, we should do that too. Yeah.
But it ain't American. It ain't the American way.
Or it's not, actually, it's not American. It doesn't make money.
I would think it would.
It doesn't make money in the current system. It's like how we're oil dependent, and we the people who have the money, like common people have buying power, but if every vehicle is run by fossil fuel, how do you really not buy fossil fuel? And unless we all become mechanics and wire the cars to run on something else, I don't know,
oil or some bullshit.
Not even soybean oil, because soybeans are fucking up
the rainforest. That's true.
Yeah, they're tearing down rainforests. They're polluting towns and with pesticides and stuff because of monoculture. So you have stuff like that. But what I'm getting at is with fossil fuels, you have if every vehicle is run off of fossil fuel, I mean, you can hardwire the car and somehow, rewire the car and put solar panel, or paint the car with the solar panel things and wire it that way and make the body of the car a solar car and all of this stuff. Like, you can do those types of things.
It just requires
but your average person doesn't have this capability
degree and shit like that. Yeah.
Actually, you can can learn solar paneling online. Like, I have videos and stuff like that show you the how-to guides on doing it, but it requires research and learning and all of that stuff, and it's safer, and you will get better results when someone who is skilled teaches you. But we don't have that in the world, particularly in the Western world, like we used to, where somebody learns something and they share it with the community and everybody learns it. Like, the whole idea of like the family business is dead.
Yeah, that is dying
I mean, essentially it's I say it's dead because it's around, but it's really not like it used to be. It's coming back.
Right.
So it died, but it's having a revival, but it's nowhere near like it used to be.
So, one second. Have you ever heard of this, I guess, way of government that's called technocracy? Or something like that, where you have the engineers and the physicists of your country put into positions of being congressmen and senators and even presidents to have them run the country.
I've not heard of that, but that sounds like an interesting premise.
It was brought into the mainstream attention, I believe, in the 1970s or 1960s, and then it quickly died out.
Yeah.
I personally think we should probably bring that back.
I don't know, because this is the thing. I don't feel like one person should be like, Obama's doing a good job and everything. I'm glad about that. We've had other presidents that have done all right. Some not so great, but but this is the thing. I feel like the this is the idealism coming back.
Okay.
The whole, you know how you have like the idea of the tribal council and you have like the bodies in the group. So the same way we have Congress and it's a group of people and they're supposed to all agree on a thing.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's how certain positions should be. Like there's always one guy who has the last word, but he's never the guy. There's no the guy. And we know who he is, who's the last word dude, but he's not the president. We have a presidential body that makes decisions. And I feel like maybe there should be, and maybe this should be a thing, that something like Congress should have representatives from different areas as opposed to just states. It should be like representatives of the main interests of the state. So if you're from a state and y'all grow corn and potatoes and you do wind energy, you need representatives for farming. You need representatives with the industries that work around that farming.
Renewable energy.
You need representatives with the renewable energy. You need people who actually represent those things. It's like how I was saying, like you have female electives and female officials who kind of don't really reflect the women that they're in their home state or in their hometown. Okay. They're so different, and but at the same time, I mean, these are just ideas. Some of it doesn't really make sense, but some of it would be great if. It's a thing where it's like, it would be great if this could be applied in some way. I feel like it would be really beneficial. Now, granted, this is the idealism thing is that someone comes up with these ideas, and then you have people who sit down and really think about how it could be included in what we do today. Because, I mean, in a lot of ways, the way our government is set up and the way our society is set up is fine. It's just the way people use it is not fine. So, it's just like, but to have somebody like, I don't know, Neil deGrasse Tyson, right? Let's say because somebody said it before, he should be president. Let's say we made him president. Who says he even wants to do that? Like, right. the amount of bullshit you have to go through to be a politician is ridiculous. He wouldn't have time to be a physicist because he'd be so busy presidenting. Kissing asses
and shaking
and
hands, or shaking babies and kissing.
Well,
hands.
maybe not kissing asses, but you know what I mean. Like, there's a level any job you do, because the corporate model is modeled after something, and it's basically modeled after politics and high profile businesses and all of that stuff. So when the corporate lifestyle does not allow you to be a person outside of that, and the person you are outside of that is somebody who's like, oh, I'm away from it, not. Oh, let me see what the stars are doing now. You're not. So it's just like he's great doing what he's doing. Now, should there be an advisor that has his expertise? Yes. Like what is it? They had that one guy. What was his name? The senator I tweeted.
Oh, the senator who ended up taking over NASA.
Yeah,
who doesn't believe in global warming.
He doesn't believe in global warming. Yeah. And so he wants to push for NASA to put people back in space. And I'm like, you fucking idiot. Yeah. They took people out of spaces because it's fucking expensive.
Yeah, you have to worry about micro
organisms
meteors, and then the cosmic, I believe, radiation alongside solar radiation.
And then just having the person, I mean, aside from all of that, just having a person survive in the vacuum
of empty space and zero gravity.
Yeah.
Because that also affects the body.
And then the life support. I mean, just the costs of life support for a human being to go out to the moon is a big deal. Right. It's a lot. That's why, Lance Bass, he was going to try to go to space. He still hasn't gone because he's like, he's not broke at all, but he's too broke for that shit. Yeah. And I mean, what you gonna do? It's just like, keep singing, dude. You're good. Take care of your baby. Does he have a baby? So it's just,
I think he has a baby.
Yeah, take care of your babies. Don't worry about going to space. You got babies.
So but, let's. Okay.
But as far as putting humans in space is is completely ridiculous right now because we're exploring reaches that exceed what we used to be capable of supporting. I feel like that's why it's like economic, and it's just safer that way. We have robots that are capable of these things. We have these advances with radio signals to send pictures and data back. We can control robots remotely across the reaches of space. Why would you waste time putting a person out there? You can tell the robot what to do. You can't always tell a person what to do.
True that.
You know, so and then also well, the other thing was, it's just like, dude, he needs a science advisor. He needs an advisory board, and if the advisory board does not agree with what he has to say, and this has nothing to do with him being a Republican and everything to do with him not being a scientist, if they don't agree with what he has to say, he has to go back and change it until they do, until it's been approved, because somebody like him can't just, I don't feel good about the idea of him just going around telling NASA what to do with their time and with their money. I mean, granted, their money is coming from the government, but guess who pays the government the money so they can distribute to who they need to distribute it to? You and me and everyone else like us.
Right.
So I don't feel comfortable. Ted Cruz, that's his name.
Fucking Ted Cruz.
Fucking Ted Cruz.
Follow him on
read
Twitter.
My tweet.
Call him an
my
asshole.
Nah, it's just like, read my tweet, Ted Cruz.
Don't
I
follow
mean
him on
it.
Twitter.
Answer
Just call
my
him an
question.
asshole.
But so I feel like that's even down to like the renewable energy, and why would you deny that to be able to be used, whether global warming was an issue or not? Why would we continue drilling for natural gas and all of this stuff when you're having explosions and all of these things, and you're having pollution of groundwater and all of this stuff,
Soil,
and this
groundwater,
pipeline thing? And it wasn't common knowledge
fracking,
until recently. Jon Stewart, I think it was the Jon Stewart show, and he showed that the pipelines, there are plenty of other pipelines all over the U.S. It's just this Keystone one is the longest. And it's the first one going from one point to another, and it's stretching across the whole United States. And the other controversy is that it doesn't really create enough jobs to support anyone, and it's running through Native American reservation land.
Oh no!
It's running through nature preserves. It's running through all kinds of things that will destroy every ecosystem in its path. And it's in the people who think it doesn't matter. They don't think it matters because they don't have to worry about it.
Because they don't live in those situations.
They don't live there. They don't
places.
have to see it. It's like how there's a documentary about chocolate and how you have the cocoa fields and children. You have children in Africa that are being kidnapped from I don't know, random different countries and brought to places where there are cocoa fields to work on their slave labor. And people don't care, and they just go buy the chocolate bar they want. But guess who's benefiting mostly from that chocolate is Nestle. Sorry, I said it, but Nestle benefits from that. And when Nestle was petitioned by one of the people who did the documentary, they were ignored, they were put out, they basically didn't want anything to do with them. I can't think of the name of it right now, but we'll post it on the video at the later.
We'll go ahead and post it in the description if you're on YouTube, and we'll go ahead and also leave it in the description if you're listening on SoundCloud. Continue.
So so you have things like that, and it's just like, well, why should they care? It's just like, why should someone in America even give a crap about some kid being kidnapped to work on a cocoa plant? Chocolate's delicious.
Is Hershey's owned by Nestle?
I don't know.
Or is Hershey's its own company?
I think Hershey's is its own company.
Like Nestle Quick. But I want to have my Nestle Quick.
But I want my Nestle Quick.
I want my cherry milk.
Even something down to water. Like there are issues with Nestle and the water that Nestle gets. There are issues with that. So there are a lot of issues with the way they get their stuff, and it's just like your everyday people benefit from these things, and you're like, well, what are you supposed to do? Petition it? You can't not drink water. I mean, this is the only water that's available in our region and all this stuff, and it's just like, no, we're not asking you to never use it again. We're asking for this company to actually care about where it comes from and to do something about it and stop, get involved. Like Nestle Nestle's power is incredible. Like,
absolutely.
Like, if they could send their thugs. I mean, I don't think Nestle has thugs necessarily.
I think they have.
But you know
thugs.
what I mean? It's like the idea of like, Nestle, send your thugs to like rough up the dudes that are kidnapping kids from these plants, and then hire actual people in the villages to work on these fields. It's not necessary.
A fair wage
and pay them a living wage according to the standards of where they live. And something that isn't gonna have them in poverty. It's just like somebody in the far reaches where in the cocoa fields should be making enough money where people can say, oh wow, you work for the Nestle cocoa field. But I don't think necessarily Nestle owns the field. I think they buy cocoa from the field. And the field is owned by whoever, whatever. But you see what I mean? It's just like the way trade is working in the world, people, it passes enough hands for people to, it's too much work for people to care. It's easier to just say, is it fair trade? No or yes. But they're not caring about the fact that other product that isn't fair trade and isn't made by slave labor is still being manufactured and still being sold. So it's stuff like that. And then you have, and then going back to the idea of like the blood diamonds, right?
Right.
So you have the blood diamonds and all of that stuff. It's the same thing with oil and pipelines and the fossil fuels and all of that stuff. Like, if you don't care about what it does because it doesn't really affect you, it's not going to change. And it's sad, but it's just like because people don't think about stuff until it's too late. It really feels like the world isn't going to care about global warming until we can't reverse it. Like, even out here in California, and like a lot of mountaintops don't have water. We drove through that area in Mission Hills, and those areas actually used to have water. You can see it. You can see the erosion, and in the bottom, where the bottom of these man-made lakes basically have grass in them. They don't water that. There was water there, and it evaporated. It's gone because it's so hot. Why is it so hot? It's just like, answer these questions. And they do. They deny the science because I really feel like they're denying the science is because it's interfering with the money that they're promised to make.
Fuck yeah.
So I found the documentary, and the documentary about the cocoa fields and children being abducted. It's called The Dark Side of Chocolate. It can be found on YouTube, and that'll be posted, as you said, in the comments section. So we will have that for you later on.
So, moving on from this topic, we're going to be moving on into more of us. I like to think of as stoner thoughts. You mentioned, I want to kind of have you say that quote again. You said something about the Earth being a living organism.
Oh yeah.
If the Earth is a living organism, if you can go ahead and conceive that the Earth is a living organism, it's fair to go ahead and attribute, or how did he go ahead and say
we were talking about black holes, and I was saying I was just like, maybe the behavior of black holes might be because there's we were watching the video, and it was talking about the different type of matter that's going in and out of the black hole, and that's how the event horizon happens and all of that. And eventually, if enough of the right matter escapes, the black hole collapses and it dissipates, and it's no longer there. But recently, they found a black hole that was 12 billion suns, the size of 12 billion suns. And I'm like, imagine that. It's just like, it's almost unimaginable. So, and it was going to the idea that the Big Bang suggests that everything was in a singularity, and it burst for whatever reason. There was an explosion from the singularity, and everything spread out, and this is where we are today. And they're saying that the universe is constantly expanding, but the black hole is within it is the singularity. So if you think about it, the black hole is basically sucking everything in back to its beginning. So
there's more than one black hole, though.
There's more than one, but
and then at that, there's supermassive black holes in the center of galaxies too.
Yes, so you have these supermassive black holes that may be basically sucking things back into their individual singularities. And I mean, you could look at them like organisms, almost like kind of like a virus, but not a virus, where it's trying to like pull everything in. It's eating. They're like beings eating things, and then you have space that's trying to expand to keep itself from being eaten.
Right.
And I was saying that if you can look at the Earth as an organism, why not be able to look at space as something that is living and evolving and changing? Yeah, the universe itself is something that's evolving and changing and growing and expanding. And you can look at the black holes as that as well, and the singularity within each black hole
has a new life.
Has a new potential for new existence under whatever conditions it changes things into within itself. So and then when you have this specific supermassive black hole is one of the first ones that's the biggest that we found.
Right.
And in the time that we've been exploring the galaxy, at least us, that way we count possibles of aliens and stuff like that. But going
into aliens, UFO sightings, abductions, all that stuff can be attributed to
my wife and I was abducted by aliens, and they put probes in our butts.
Can be attributed to sleep apnea, or not sleep apnea, but just certain I guess conditions or medical conditions that people, or not medical conditions, but the mind is very powerful, and it can make you believe something so fully that never even happened, but you just believe in it so fully that you believe it to be true.
Okay.
So who knows if what they're saying is right? But you also have people saying, why the hell would they want to come to this Earth? But the way I always look at it is like, look around you. Look at all the other planets around you. Mm-hmm. We're the only ones that have actual life on, or at least for what we know.
We're teeming with life in our neighborhood.
We glow in the barren wasteland of darkness that is space.
Exactly.
Because of our lights.
Yes.
So why the fuck wouldn't they want to come here if there is other type of conscious sentient life out there?
Okay. So I think that it's not that people, and there's a popular meme on Facebook and through social media, and it's like anytime they see something really stupid that humans did, it's like, and this is why aliens won't visit us, or it's pictures of aliens, and like, and this is why we don't come visit you.
Yeah. These motherfuckers.
Exactly, it's stupid ass dudes. So I think about it like this. Why would they want to come? We haven't figured out how to exist on this planet without destroying it. We don't know how to do a lot of things. We're idiots. Like, generally speaking, your average person, infants. Even me, there are so many things I don't know. If it wasn't for this thing right here, this smartphone, I wouldn't know a lot of stuff because I wouldn't know my way around. Like, when I move new places, I'm using my GPS to find my way and everything. And granted, I am applying the technology that I have access to. Mm-hmm. So that's a good thing. And a lot of us do that. A lot of humans do that. But we reject a lot of things that are useful, like vaccines. Mm-hmm. We're rejecting vaccines. People are like, measles, and I'm very glad that recently this video came out that explained how all of these things work. I think it was on Upworthy. I'll find it and send it to you.
Awesome. But we'll go ahead and put that in the description as well.
So but the vaccines have chemicals in it that remind people of bad things, like mercury. But the mercury is combined with other elements. It's one atom of mercury. It's not a vial of mercury in a gallon of this chemical called thimerosal. I think that's how you say it. But it's an atom. That's almost nothing. Right. Like an atom, like we all learned what atoms were in high school, I think. We all know what it is, but it's like we forget. And it's so popular to be afraid of these types of things that people can't differentiate. They get caught up in the excitement. So it's just like, why would a society, why would beings from a society that's progressed to the point that they can explore the far reaches of the universe even waste their time with a species, an infantile species that can't stop living their life based on fairy tales. They can't stop living their life based on hearsay.
Right.
You know, like, why would we? I mean, I fall prey to that. I fall to that. We all do. We like, somebody we really like or really trust or really want to trust says something, we just accept it. And it's like things like that. It's just like, we're not asking you to be a skeptic all the time and be that asshole that's like, I don't believe you. But at the same time, if you hear something you've never heard before, and you have a device that can look up the infinite knowledge that we've cataloged over human history, really. Some of it's edited. I mean, and then on top of that, just something like the simple skill of research. Like, research skills is lacking. So stuff like that. It's just like, you have the capability to research, but a lot of people don't know how to research. They think Google works where you just type it in and whatever comes up is right.
Right.
But they don't put forth the time. It's just like, if you got 40,000 results, and that's not even a realistic number because it's way more. You get 40,000 results on vaccines, and you only look at the first 10 pages, you're really not doing research. And sometimes, depending on what you're looking up, the other pages are just repeats of everything. But you should really at least attempt to see what the first 10 pages are instead of the first 10 results. Or whatever the number is Google gives you. And then on top of that, it's just like, there are other means of research other than Google. Read actual books, maybe, you know, like those types of things. So it's just like, why would aliens waste their time? Excuse me, let me say it in the way that a little more scientific. Why would extraterrestrials come to this planet of disease, war, famine, mistreatment of each other, and all of these things? And the level of aggression we use in response to each other, no. And people are like, oh, aliens are coming. I had a friend that said something hilarious. He was just like, yeah, aliens are gonna come, but they're coming for the harvest. And I look at him like, what? And I was like, you mean like for dinner? He was basically, and I'm just like, I laughed at it, and then I thought about it, and I was just like, it's not that I want to get eaten, but it's almost a thing where it's just like, if we were just here, and they came, they would probably just eat us up. It's really, I mean, I'm sure we're tasty. I think this rumor is pork and human taste about the same. So it's
crazy
barbecue.
thing about that is that we evolved because we had a predator mindset. The animals that are able to, you know, breed longer and not get eaten are the ones that are usually predators. So taking that and seeing how predators are able to thrive in nature itself, it's not far off to believe that extraterrestrials would have a predator mindset. And it's not too far-fetched to believe that they would come down here and fuck shit up.
Yeah.
It's the same thing that Stephen Hawking is saying and other like brilliant minds are saying. Like, that wouldn't necessarily be a good idea or a good thing for
contact, like what's the thing they did? They sent out the probe with the CD and all of this stuff for them to see what we're about. But it was the dumbest thing. I'm like, why would you, like, all right. I'm gonna just say this real quick. They sent out a rocket or a probe or whatever, and it's got this thing with all the languages of the world, and it's got the stupidest music on it. Yeah. It's got the shittiest music we could possibly have created.
Mind you, it has also a gorilla song in there, so omitting the gorilla song.
But the thing is,
I'm just playing.
I
love gorillas.
Our music that is considered pop music is not a good representation of how smart we are.
Okay.
And I love a lot of songs, but they are so basic and so similar. Like how we were talking about, what is it? Sunday Morning by Maroon 5.
Yeah.
And then this other song, it's another song on the same album, have the same melody, because I was humming it. And then you sang Sunday Morning. Like, it's the exact same melody. And this is like, if you can have an entire album composed off of like these basic melodies. It's just like, no, you need to like take some of our greatest composers and have music that's created with a little more mathematical
finesse.
More finesse in the mathematics and all of these things. If you want to impress somebody who's figured out how to travel the thousands of light years away from home without dying, without perishing beforehand. And even then, I think there was a theory. I mean, I'm gonna go there because I used to watch Ancient Aliens because it was interesting. It was fun to get baked and watch it.
Fuck yeah.
But good entertainment. But at the same time, it kind of. But at the same time, it was kind of a thing where some of the theories were things where I was just like, I'll put that in the bank for later. It might actually. It might actually be interesting for later. But I
really loved how they can really twist everything that could happen in human nature.
Anything.
Thanksgiving.
Aliens. Wait, there was an episode they were talking about Thanksgiving.
Oh God. No.
Actually, there was an episode, and it's just like, were there aliens there? You're like, who cares?
You don't know.
But I think that was about a third season, right?
Yeah.
I think it was about a third season. After the third season, it just started getting like, all right,
jumped the shark.
I can't anymore. But the point I'm gonna make about it is the idea that aliens are visiting the planet to harvest things. They're coming here because of other interests. It's not about the humans. But then you also have these new age spiritualisms. I don't know if it's as popular as it used to be, but there are videos on YouTube called like Answers from an Alien from Andromeda, which is pretty laughable in its title. And
there's also
it's totally like
there's
ridiculous.
Also another video out there where this guy is supposedly interviewing a being that's from a different dimension or from a parallel dimension to ours.
I've heard about stuff like that through those same channels.
It's called A Conversation with Ed, meaning extra dimensional being. You can find it on YouTube or Vimeo if you ever want to check that out. But I still haven't checked it out, but it just sounds like so fucking ludicrous. And I just don't want to waste my time on it. But at the same time, it's intriguing because it's like, let's see how inventive this motherfucker can be.
Yeah, that's how it got for me. It was just like, at first, I'm like, I'll give it a chance, see what it is. You know, a friend showed it to me, and I'm like, all right, let's see what it is. And sometimes the stuff was like, that would be interesting if that happened. But it's like, as you flick through the videos, and they're not that long. They're pretty short, and it's scrolling, and it's using the speech to text, the text to speech program where they're typing it in and then it's speaking, but the words scroll across the screen, and it gets sillier and sillier because there are these different things, and the same way was it the South Park episode, and you were talking about this is what Scientologists actually believe. It actually went that far to talk about some galactic battle and how people are this thing and all of this stuff, and talking about the origins of different types of humans and all this stuff. And it's just like, none of that makes any sense. Because if you skin a black person, and you skin a white person, and you skin an Asian person, and then you skin a South American person, minus certain proportions, looks exactly the same. And if you strip the muscle layer away, the organs are the same. Everything's in the exact same place. Everything works the exact same way. And somebody could argue that, it's because we've been on the planet for a long time. It's just like, that doesn't make any sense. The only difference is superficial. It's like how a flower is a flower is a flower. Like a daisy is a daisy is a daisy. All the way down. The only difference is this daisy has petals that are a little longer, and you have pink tips with red veins in the middle, and this daisy is completely white with a yellow middle. Right. It's so it's just like when people get into this whole idea of like, maybe we're from this place and all this stuff, and I'm like, I indulged in it. I was just like, it was fun to think about, and I actually got the idea to do, because I told you I want to do I want to cosplay as a reptilian. Yeah. Because I got that idea from this whole conspiracy, alien, everything, and all of this stuff. And I do. It looks really cool. And then the first episode of Doctor Who, when the lizard chick showed up and they went underground and she was fucking people shit up, I was just like, I'm doing it. It's gonna be great.
That Doctor Who episode is awesome.
Yeah. So It's a thing where you're just like, all right, guys, that was fun, but let's come back to reality. And you can indulge in it, and especially if you get high while you're watching it, it gets all up in your head, and you remember it later, and you're wondering about it in your bed at night. But it really is. It's just like, let's be rational, you know.
But the crazy thing about being rational in this universe we live in are the truths. And here are some of the truths. We are all connected atomically to the universe, chemically to the earth, and one another through genetics.
Yeah.
That's a mind fucking and a half right there when you really think about it.
Everybody's your cousin.
Everybody's your cousin, and from the rock that you see to the stars that are above, you're connected to it.
Yeah. Some part of you is related to that.
That's truth. That's like it fucks with me sometimes if you let it, of course.
But
it's
I mean, how does it mess with you? Like,
it puts me in awe of it all. Not fucks with me like, oh, I'm tearing up my mind. I can't cope.
Woo.
Oh. How does Hank go?
Hank go. I don't know.
Okay.
But point is like, I understand. It's a thing where the appreciation, put it this way, when you take that into consideration, it's really hard to be prejudiced against other people. Though prejudice, and that's something that, as far as people being racist, racism is bullshit, but prejudice makes perfect sense in the constructs of reality that we live under. Because if it weren't for stereotyping and prejudice, a lot of us wouldn't survive. Because you learn something about a certain type of person.
That's a good way of looking at it.
You learn that they're either trustworthy or not trustworthy. It's like how like with the problems in Ferguson.
Yeah.
And you have people coming out saying, young black men, wear your pants up. You know, dress better, speak better. And, you know, and then your actions will be seen. Because the thing is, think about everything you wear as a costume. So if you dress up, and let's think of daily life as Halloween, and you think of your daily clothing as a costume. So, like I told you, my friend who dresses up as a creepy clown for Halloween. Now, if you dress up as a creepy clown, people are going to think you're a murderer. You dress up as a happy clown, a few people might be, like, put off. But most people will be like, oh my god, what a clown, oh my god. Yeah.
But at the same time, people don't want to, like, have to change.
And that was the controversy with
afraid.
That was the controversy with the statement, is that it sucks, but I'll just say this, as a person who is of African descent in this country, it is really annoying to have to change yourself in every way possible to make people comfortable around you. But I grew up understanding that certain behaviors were better avoided if I didn't want to be labeled as that. And it works out perfectly. It's just like, I don't know, maybe say the whole word and then people won't think you're stupid because you understand the language, the one language you know.
No, that's not just in African American.
That's across the board.
That's across the board.
That's across the board. I grew up in predominantly black, but there were white people, there were people of Asian descent, there were Hispanics, there were all kinds of people, salt peppered in here and there.
And it's just because they want to be cool. They want to fit into normal societies.
I will say that the inflections and the dialects that a lot of African Americans use, it's we call it our culture because our culture is that of basically kidnapped people. I mean, like we weren't allowed to keep our native languages or in a lot of our practices. There are a lot of practices that were integrated. There are a lot of things that we do here in America that are done here specifically because African slaves were brought here, which is pretty cool, but but it's not glorified in that manner. We don't see it in that manner. It's not like, thanks Africans for showing us how to do this thing. It's just like, oh, whatever, it's American. Like we don't see it as that. So it's hard to see those things as our culture. So we really it's like for African Americans, it's dancing, singing, in the weird Ebonics, what they call Ebonics. I hate that term, but people understand what that means if I say it like that. Right. But the point I'm making is that everyone was offended by the comments when people say, hey, if you don't do this, people won't think this of you, and be something more than just that, or just the thing that you think is okay. And I agree with it, but I understand why other people disagree. And it's because you're telling people to change themselves. But if you live in a place, like I said, I grew up and I used to use a lot of slang. I used to speak a certain way. And one day I really listened to myself. And it sounds like bullshit, but I did. I thought about something I said because somebody made fun of it. And I started thinking about the words that I said after they came out of my mouth. And I decided to change it. Because I started hanging out. It was like that moment when you realized that you were smarter than what you were pretending to be. And I'm like, let's just be smarter. Let's just be that person. Let's not be that other thing. And I slowly realized that some people are relying on that as a
crutch. Yeah,
it's a crutch. It's a crutch. So if you have people in general that are doing that, they're not going to be very bright, and they're not going to want to try harder, and then you're going to have this setback. And like I said, this is why aliens, if they're out there, aren't really trying to hang out with humans, because we use violence as a means to an end, even with the wars, right?
I have moments where I'm like, we live in a country that was attacked I believe in the Second World War by Japan.
Yes.
And we literally said, "All right, motherfuckers, you guys want to play?" We not only sent one atomic bomb on their asses, we sent two.
And we bombed, even though the towns that were bombed were towns that were producing weapons for the Japanese military.
It still had.
It was still a thing where it's just we didn't consider the ethical ramifications of bombing a town like that, and how it will affect people for generations upon generations.
But because of that,
it was a quick fix.
Yeah.
But it didn't really fix anything. It just crippled them.
I just find it so fucking crazy to think that today we're cool with them. We had to smack them around a little bit, but they fell into place.
I think it's also a guilt thing. We love Japan so much just because people realize how shitty it was. The common person, once we got wind of what really happened, they were like, "Oh my god, that was horrible."
Yeah.
And the people who fed into the propaganda didn't see anything wrong with that, because you had people walking around calling Japanese people Japs and all this stuff. But when you hear about a lot of the tales of the internments and things like that really changed people's perspective, and I appreciate those stories. And it's just just as a black person, I appreciate those stories. I'm glad that those people are getting the respect that they deserve, and their the sympathy is coming. But it's just damn, man, it'd be nice if people would feel that way about slavery and see how slavery is still it's not in action. We're not in a modern day slavery. Nobody black is a slave, but there are a lot of behaviors that were started during slavery that are still socially acceptable, and it's totally socially acceptable to stereotype black humans as violent, as stupid, as incapable because of something that happened hundreds and hundreds of years ago. But so, going back to the point of stereotyping, I don't think anything's wrong with stereotyping, because it's a survival method and it keeps you out of certain places. And it's you change your behavior based on what the stereotype says. So if, the stereotype where Asians are bad drivers.
Yeah.
It's a fucked up stereotype, because it's when you're driving down the road and you see an old ass man and he happens to be Asian, and you're like, fuck. Because if you tell somebody the story, then you sound like a racist asshole. But the thing is, in reality, he was a bad driver who happened to be Asian, but he was probably bad because he's really old and he just is a shitty driver. It has nothing to do with his race. But it's a thing where it's a survival method. We'll not say racism. We'll say old people, because old people that was a big thing. Slow. A lot of people. It's not even slow. It's just your awareness may not be gone, but your response time is delayed because you're old. And it's a thing where there was at one point people were actually talking about trying to push the motion to have elderly drivers taken off the road. Because I mean, after a certain point you can't drive anyway, because like if you go to DMV, you do your vision test and you can't fucking see, you can't drive. And also if you're just too frail, you can't get in the car, you're not allowed. So I mean, that's a good thing, but it's just it's a thing where it's just like the stereotyping will save your life if you look at it like, oh, that looks like a teenager. Let me watch him while he's driving, so he doesn't fuck up and fuck me up.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, there's an old ass lady driving.
Go ahead and give her
Let
some
me
distance.
drop back a little bit. Let me give her some time to get her shit together, because she's not quite as aware. I mean, that's a consideration that's using consideration with a stereotype instead of being like, oh, it's an old person. Let me run her out the way before she fucks my car. And it's the same thing with like. But when it comes down to like race and capability, where you have like, oh, here comes some young black men, they got the pants sagging, let me hold on to my purse. No, it's not fair that you think that. But why would you think that? Maybe that person had an experience where young men who were brown tried to steal a purse, or stole somebody else's purse in front of her, or she got a story about it. You don't know, but it's a survival thing. It's her attempting to make it out of a situation the way she was before she went in, and it's not fair and it sucks, and you want to call her a shitty human being, but in reality we do the same thing. Like when I was younger, and even earlier this year, like I would meet men who happened to be white, and if they were older than me, older than a certain age, I was a little curious about like what really they wanted. And I mean, I like sex. When I was single, I have sex, whatever. Right. But, it's just like, how serious is this person about me, really? And it's because certain people are taught to value certain people a certain way. And older men, a lot of times, are after younger women so they can feel young for the night. They're not trying to have you forever. Right. And then when you get as a black woman, you got these curves and this booty and everything, and you're like, is he trying to fuck me because I got a big ass and I'm black, and he wants to feel like he actually did it, like he finally slept with a black chick? Am I a trophy on the shelf?
That's just for black women. That's for women in general, right?
Yeah, it's not just black women, it's women in general. But I have friends who are Asian, and they've told me that they're like, yeah, sometimes dating white men is really frustrating because they treat you like a trophy. Like and then I have a friend in New York who's Japanese, and she got the worst of it. Like she was it okay Cupid, or Asian Cupid. Okay. There are older white men on Asian Cupid. It's supposed to be 4 Asian people to meet each other, but it's like white dudes on there trying to pull Japanese girls, specifically Japanese girls. Right. Because of the fetishism. Was it Japanophiles? Yeah. So it's a fetishism, and you're trying to avoid it. So you're starting to you try to avoid stereotyping people, so you can actually give someone a chance, because you might meet someone great, but when you constantly get the same type of person over and over again, and they behave a certain way, like as a black girl around black guys, not all black guys, not a lot of black guys, it's just those types of guys who happen to be black behave in a way that is so extreme that it is so jarring that you just feel like you're being bombarded when it's really not even that bad. But it's demeaning, and it's when you're walking down the street, it's summertime, it's hot, you got on shorts because it's warm, and your legs look good because you worked out, and you're happy with yourself, and you don't even think about it because that's just how your body's shaped. Right. And then he looks at you and screams at you, damn girl, you got a fat ass. It makes you feel just like that's all you are, it's your ass. And it demeans you. So eventually you start to get this, you like tense up.
Self-conscious type of thing.
You get self-conscious and you tense up when you see guys that look like that guy. Because his behavior, and it's just like, it's like when you It's a thing, and for me, it's just men in general, and they look at me and they're like, "Damn, girl, you fine," all this stuff. Ooh, want a piece of that, and it's just like, I am not here for that. I'm not here to entertain you. None of that shit. Like, don't fucking talk to me if you don't actually have a reason to talk to me. And someone's like, what if he wanted to genuinely holler at you and, like, get to know you? I'm like, it's not a valid enough a reason just because I'm pretty. If I am walking east and you're heading west and you got somewhere to be, go there. Say hello and let it be. If I'm actually somewhere where you can actually talk to me, then do that. But I just feel like the passing on the street and stuff like that, let the woman go where she's going. Leave her alone. This isn't a meetup. You know what I mean? Like, this isn't a social meetup. Like, this is just normal life, and it just happens that we're passing. And sometimes you can meet the love of your life that way, but sometimes you don't. And it's like, if we cross paths again, talk to me. But if I'm looking straight ahead and I'm not even looking at you, and all you got to say to me is to tell me that I'm pretty or that you like my body, keep it to yourself. You know, you can sing a song in your head about it. Take a picture for your mind. Don't actually take a picture of my ass, please. It's fucked up. That's even worse. But actually, I don't know. If I don't know, I don't know. So just don't let her see it, I guess. Whatever your thing is. But it's just like, keep your mental image. I'm not. I don't condone. I do not condone taking pictures of women's asses when they're not looking. Don't do that. But it's just like, keep a mental image of that. You like the way she looked. You look at it, masturbated to it later. You know, because that's really what it is. It's just you acting on your animalistic tendencies to gratify that sexual urge.
That's a great way.
And don't tell her about it. She doesn't need to know.
Right.
It's not necessary.
All right. We've come to the end of the podcast.
All right.
But before we end, let's go ahead and give the last question.
Uh-oh.
If you had 3 wishes, Miss Leesa, what would they be? Wish number 1.
3 wishes? That's all I get?
That's all you get.
Okay. The first
the rule
wish
is you can't ask for more wishes.
Well, obviously. I learned. Aladdin taught me that. What's the other one?
I think that's it.
That's all? That's your only rule? I can't wish for more wishes?
You can't wish for more wishes.
Okay. Yeah. Aladdin taught me that. I can't wish for more wishes. So, my first wish is to have about $100,000.
Right.
So I can pay off my loans and, like, pay some bills and start the thing. Get the stuff in motion that I want to get in motion.
Okay.
My second wish would be that... I like to think of realistic wishes. My second wish is that the things that would actually help us would actually move forward. You know, like, I wish that people would care enough. I wish people were able to care. So I guess that's what the second wish would be. I wish people were able to care about what they should and want to care about, so we can have a better world.
Rather than Kim Kardashian and fucking Amber Rose.
I ain't even talking about that. Okay. I'm just saying, like, daily life struggles, like paying a bill, stuff like that. Like, I wish that humans on this planet didn't have to worry. It'll still be a concern. Yeah. But it would not be a worry that, where am I gonna eat? How am I going to do this? Like, we've developed the technology, and I'm not talking about GMOs and all this stuff. Just the capability to farm land and transport food. We have the capability to feed every person on this planet. Like, they need to be fed. All that other shit isn't necessary. We just need to do it right. Okay. So my wish is that stuff could actually be implemented, so humanity can actually progress. And then my third wish, I guess, is that I wasn't so lazy. I don't know. Cool. It's kind of hard, but I do. It's just like I wish I was a little more driven, because, you know, even though I'm driven, I feel like I could be more driven. Okay.
Well, thank you very much, my love, for being on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Hopefully we can have you more often. Ooh. That'll be awesome.
Every day. 4 more years.
Yeah. If people want to reach out to you for your seamstress capabilities, where can they find you on Twitter and Instagram?
My Instagram Right now, it's primarily Instagram. My Twitter is not as active as it could be, but my Instagram is alucidly or at alucidly.
Yeah.
I think that's how it works. And then my Twitter is at Leesa, and it's Leesa_SA. So.
Awesome sauce.
We can put that in the descriptions.
We shall leave it in the descriptions on both YouTube and SoundCloud.
Yes.
But thank you very much again.
Thank you for having me again.
Awesome sauce.
And again and again. Applesauce.
Applesauce.
Yum.
So, until next time, this is Rick with my beautiful, lovely co-host of the day, Leesa, telling you to be happy and do what you want. We'll probably come back next month. I'm going to try to keep this going every month, at least have an awesome co-host with me. I'm really hoping Leesa really likes doing this podcast thing. I think she'd make an awesome podcaster, and maybe in the future she'll have her own, and we'll be sending her to you.
Maybe I'll just chime in with you.
We can do that too.
We'll see.
That would be awesome to have you as a co-host.
We'll see.
But until next time, see you guys later.